Hey, welcome back, Rankers. How you going? Thank you everyone last week for the comments on the show and what we're doing with AI and how we're using it with SEO and all those other things. We are going to have that report available for others to, purchase. And we'll be rolling it out slowly though. Just want to get the bugs out of it. And it is still in beta. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe, share, like, all that sort of stuff. And head across over to stuartmedia.com.au and get the newsletter there. And you'll find out, one of the first, to have a go at trialing that. Now, one of the themes that came through with all the people I spoke to last week after discussing what we were doing and everything else was, I don't even know where to start. Not so much, I know there's OpenAI, I know there's ChatGPT, but I don't know how to, use it like you're using it. And there's a lot of stuff out there and you forget because you're following all these geniuses and you subscribe to all these newsletters. But essentially, and someone said this on the platform formerly known as Twitter this week, they said one of the best things you can do with these tools is just use them. And certainly that suits me, but it doesn't suit everyone. And some people need that structure. But I would go along with that and say, just start using it. But I'd like to give you some pointers that, because we're doing staff training now as well with this. And some of the staff have said, we need some processes about how we can, start to solve the problems or use this more effectively. And so some of the things that have come out of that and some of the things I've been testing and reading and playing with, really just take it back to the basics and understanding the nature of what you want and what the problem is you're trying to solve or what the thing is you're trying to create. And it's a bit like I say to people, think of it as if you're instructing a contractor or an employee or someone you've hired to get this job done, whatever it might be. It could be responding to an email to your boss. It might be about writing a Python script. It could be anything, but have a think about who you would normally brief to do this, whether it be a personal assistant, if you have one. How would you brief them to write an email to your boss? Spell it out. Understand the component parts of what you want written in that email. And you start to do those sorts of things and you get a feel of how far you can take it and it starts to open up the horizons for you. I'm at the point now of trying to work out how to put or schedule time in my calendar to make an appointment with an AI business consultant. And I don't have that AI business consultant yet, but I want to create one for myself to use all the resources I have, all the history of our business, everything else, and then start to consult based on where we're heading, because we're changing, we're having a shift in how we do things, and how we can best position ourselves. An example of this taken to the ridiculousness is the superconductor LK99 that's been all the buzz, if you're into that sort of thing like I am, over the last couple of weeks. And we've got what we would call, I guess, an entity, because we're used to those sorts of terms with Google. So I'm going to stick with that for the time being. There's probably a very good programming term that I'm missing, but it's basically an object that says, this is Stuart Media, this is who we are. And we use that like a buyer persona, you would use it as well, same sort of thing. It's a set of instructions that explains or defines who we are and what we do. And we put that into one of our tools and said, how does the discovery of a room temperature superconductor affect Stuart Media? And it came back and it gave us a whole list of points to watch out for over the next 10 years and how to position ourselves on the market. Now that's taking it to the ridiculous level, but it gives you an insight into the sorts of things that you can do if you give it the right instructions. And there's a number of simple things that have happened to me over the last week. My neighbour was having trouble with his tractor, diesel engine, it was running away. They can blow up if that happens, not good. All he'd done was replace the clutch and all sorts of problems. I'm not a mechanic, I've got no idea. There used to be a person I'd ask, he's no longer with us, Grimes, but I said, probably I'd grab ChatGPT. He said, my mates have already tried ChatGPT. They asked questions, sent me the instructions, and they said, nah, gave up. And I said, okay, you need to use, say, Code Interpreter, which is part of the paid version of OpenAI's ChatGPT 4. The reason I would recommend any working adult or student to pay for that, it's $20 US a month, is because once you start realizing the power of what you can do and how you can use it, then you can realize how it can affect your whole career, your whole education, all sorts of things. And so certainly I don't begrudge paying it. I'd rather pay that than some of the API fees I've been paying. So it's very, very useful to have. So I would upload the manual for that diesel engine to Code Interpreter. I'd explain exactly what you've done when you replace the clutch. I would then explain the symptoms that you've just told me about. And I said, and then I'd ask it for a checklist of things to go and have a look at that you haven't already checked, and maybe some bullet points and then whatever else. Now they didn't do that. Anyway, he came back today. He said, I'd read the manual and I found it was the governor wasn't advancing, and it was the vacuum wasn't, and it was sucking too much fuel. Anyway, the other example of using the tool for something completely different, which is just personal development, is this, which comes from Nick Young, who's been the lead on a lot of this stuff in the team. And this is just brilliant. So there's services out there that will condense books into bite-sized forms and chunks that you can absorb easily, and the idea is you don't have to go and buy the book. I'm not saying that's a good idea, whatever. That's the services that are out there that exist. So Nick's got an asked ChatGPT, doesn't understand these services, and what do you call them? ChatGPT has responded and said, yes, if you want me to summarize famous authors, you'll need to go through these points. Now, Nick's using this for personal development, all sorts of things, but the way that you can then take the results of that or ask how you want those results presented, you might, if you're got a programming bent, you might want to say, I want the results presented, or tell me how I can write a Python script that I can use the OpenAI API to get these sorts of results on a daily basis, email to me so they're in my inbox, so I can read it every morning. So I start fresh with a great set of ideas and values for the day. That sort of thing. And imagine if you're a student and you had that. So there's services out there that will do that, but all of a sudden it opens you up to a whole range of opportunities. And as far as the training and the education goes, there's lots of different techniques and jargon out there, like prompt engineering, which I don't necessarily disagree with the idea or the concept, but basically it means the same thing. It means understanding how to get the most out of the ChatGPT by asking the right questions in the right way. And this is no different. Some people will say you don't need to prompt engineer because all you have to do is ask ChatGPT what the right prompt is for the output that you want. However, in order to create that prompt, you need to understand how to engineer it. So we're in a bit of a loop there as far as I'm concerned. I think it's better to come at from the angle of what is the problem and what's the output and what format do I want the output in, and then brief or task the professional that you would in that situation, whether it's an accountant, a scientist. With the LK99 stuff, I gave it all the papers with Code Interpreter. I got a list of the commonalities between the two papers. I then found out what equipment I needed to have, and if my wife's kiln was good enough, it is. So all those sorts of things you can do with these tools, and you can speed up your knowledge, You can speed up your experience. I thought it was going to wreck the neuroplasticity of my brain. It doesn't seem to have. I know more about Python programming now than what I ever had. I rarely use a calculator unless I'm absolutely desperate or drunk. And fortunately these days it doesn't happen too often. But the reason I don't is because I like to use that part of my brain to do those things, because if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So when people say on LinkedIn and on Twitter or on Facebook, hey, I'm really excited, I am. I'm actually really excited about all of this and its capabilities and what you can do. And we're evolving our own training processes internally. And I'm hoping to be able to take them to other people, whether it be family, friends, whatever, and just to see how it helps them in their knowledge base, their lives, their careers, whatever. Because let's keep in mind, this is just one tool, right? And it's how you use these tools, but it's also a group of professionals in your pocket, right? So, you know, I've got a business analyst, I've got an accountant, I've got all these things. You've got to check your data. Always be careful of stuff that you're uploading. Don't go and upload customer lists and those sorts of things. Bad idea. But if it's data that's not easily identifiable, Code Interpreter doesn't hold on to that data. Read the instruction manual. I really do, but in this case, I did after I've been playing with it for about 6 months. So go and have a look at that. Please like, share and subscribe. If you want to get the newsletter, get onto stuartmedia.biz or stuartmedia.com.au and sign up. We've got a lot of other really exciting stuff coming along. Thank you very much. See you next week. Bye.